Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Today we got ourselves a movie review of Den of Thieves, where Gerard Butler plays the head of the major crimes unit in Los Angeles, the bank robbery capital of the world, as the movie tells you from the very beginning. Now, granted, Point Break already taught us that, but hey, you gotta remind people once in a while, I guess. And Oshea Jackson Jr. is part of a gang that's about to rob the Federal Reserve, the one bank that's never been robbed. It's super impossible, but they're gonna do it anyway, because if they didn't, this movie would have no goddamn plot. And of course, the police are going after the gang and killed 2 hours and 20 minutes of my life. So I came into this movie both skeptical, but a little optimistic about it because, well, on the one hand, it's a January release. You know, for those of you who don't really know, January is basically Hollywood's dumping grounds. Like, it's every movie that they feel like they have no confidence in. This is where they put their crappy horror movies or their throwaway films they feel like they're not gonna make any freaking money. They're like, alright, here, just put them in January, just get them out of the way, just throw them out there, make money, don't make money, I don't give a crap. But at the same time, the trailers looked really well done, and just looked like it was going to be a really, just kind of like a fun action-adventure, thriller heist kind of movie. And, it was not. So let's just talk about the positives. Well, the cinematography is pretty good. It's like, even when the movie you're watching is not the greatest movie in the world, if it's at least a well-photographed movie, it'll at least give you something to look at and admire while you're watching it. And sometimes you really need that. Gerard Butler in this movie, he basically plays just this really unlikable cop character. He's basically an asshole to everybody. You know, it's like his life is not going too good. You know, he's got a wife who's leaving him, she's taking the kids with him, and there's this whole subplot, story arc thing they're trying to give the character, but it just does not work out at all, because it has no bearing on the movie. At all. I mean, I get it. They were trying to make him seem more human and, you know, more down to earth, I guess. The whole point of scenes in a movie is to progress the plot, not stop the movie dead in its tracks multiple times throughout a near 2.5 hour movie. That's like screenwriting 101, guys. And Oshea Jackson Jr. is, he's good. Not great, not horrible, he's good. Oh, and 50 Cent's in this movie as well. Apparently, he's got an acting career. So aside from the completely pointless Gerard Butler wife, kid, story arc, B-story, whatever you want to call it, the movie is not exactly uphill from there. Like, there are several scenes like that throughout this movie that just causes the story to just completely pause and go to this other thing that has literally no impact on the rest of the story or the film at all, to make it a very bloated runtime. Yeah, like I said earlier, this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes long, which, the way they're trying to make this movie, it's got no business being that long. This movie should have been 1 hour and 50 minutes at best. Like, there's also a few plot points in this movie that just really don't add up very well. So, for example, the leader of the gang uses his girlfriend, who's a stripper at a local strip club, that Gerard Butler's character goes into, where she meets up with him, she takes her back to their apartment, and then later on we find out that was used to get Gerard Butler's cell phone number, so when they're at the bank, they can call him and be like, haha, you can't do anything about this. So for that whole scenario to work, Gerard Butler's character had to be at that strip club at that exact time. His girlfriend had to convince Gerard Butler's character to go back with him, which, number one, that's gotta be breaking some sort of laws of the strip club. And my real question about it is, well, what's the point? It was only used for one little scene, it doesn't really amount to much, and there were much easier ways they could have pulled that off without such this convoluted and overly coincidental method they went with. So towards the beginning of the movie, there's a couple of flashback sequences where Oshea Jackson's telling Gerard Butler about how he met the gang and all that, and, you know, it's just not really cut in the way a flashback of that scenario would go about. You know, for something like that, it's usually more like a montage with some voiceover, which there is, but then all of a sudden it shows the gang leader getting released from jail, going back with his girlfriend meeting up with these people at the pool, and then it feels like a normal scene in the movie, which really just doesn't flow correctly for a flashback. It almost feels like that was supposed to be like the opening scene of the film, but the director was like, no, that's not interesting enough, so just push that back. But let's not cut it properly. No, that. If you came into this movie expecting a lot of action, you're going to be sorely disappointed, because there are only 2 action scenes, one at the very beginning and one at the very end, and unfortunately neither of which are horribly exciting. You know, it's really just a bunch of gunfire and characters yelling at each other. That's really it. And the final action scene where the heist goes down, the police are after them, they have a shootout. First of all, it's overly freaking long. They could have cut that way down. And it's just kind of boring. You know, there's not a whole lot of music in this scene, nor is there really throughout the whole movie. It's just kind of really soft, like... And at the end of the film, after most of the gang is dead but Oshea Jackson's character is still alive, they just try to tack on this big plot twist at the end where it's like they're just trying to make the character more interesting and try to have things wrap up a little bit more, but it's just like, once you think about it, it's really just too tacked on. It's not fleshed out very well. You know, it's something you could probably see through pretty quickly, while pretty much everybody else in the theater when I saw this movie was like, oh my gosh, plot twist! I was just sitting there going, okay? It's like, it was trying to be this gritty and grounded character piece drama type film, when really it should have just been a simple action thriller movie with a heist twist, which is really cool because I really enjoy heist movies. Well, I enjoy really good heist movies, so I think they just kind of overstepped their ground a little bit with this movie, and if they had just given us the movie that the trailers promised, it would have been way better. So all in all, Den of Thieves was ultimately disappointing, and another victim of the January movie bug. I wouldn't really recommend seeing this movie in the theater. It's like, maybe rent it in a few months when it comes out, and that's a hard maybe. So, those are my thoughts on Den of Thieves. If you've seen the movie, notice down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.